You're watching NappyCast by Jason Nappy Weather. I'm tracking the storm that's moving through tonight and tomorrow with clearing for Mother's Day. And here is the storm. We'll get right to it now on the radar satellite picture. You see this storm coming in from the south and the west here. Here it comes. All that heavy rain over Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island eventually here. Here comes the storm up from the south and the west. It's going to bring heavy rain coming up eventually here. You're going to see all that rain come up into Maine. So right now it's heavy in the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, but eventually New England, southern New England first, and then northern New England. So all this dry air is going to get pushed out of here, and we're going to get a bunch of rain. More than 1 to even up to 3 inches of rainfall coming in the next few days here. So especially the next really 24 to 48 hours. So let's take a look at it now. Here is the cold front that's going to push through eventually on Sunday, but there's the storm. Now this storm is going to phase. So that's just a fancy term in meteorology for energy coming together in the atmosphere. So with all this energy that's right now over the mid-Atlantic is going to phase, it's going to come together. Low pressure is going to cut off, and then it's going to move through the Gulf of Maine here. So with that phasing, with that combining of the energy, you get a stronger storm. So here it is on the satellite picture. I want to show you the water vapor. So it shows where all that moisture is coming up from the south. And look at all this moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, right across Georgia, Carolina, and then here's the engine for the storm right here where this trough is, right? So that's pushing all this moisture here coming up from the south. So you see this big moisture transport that we have. So that's where the moisture is coming from. That's why we're going to get more than 1.5 inches up to 3 inches locally. We've got the moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America, whatever you want to call it, the Atlantic Ocean, and pushing up north. So here is the storm. Upper level energy, here's your storm energy. This eventually closed low right here is going to be the storm here as it phases, as it combines with that energy. So I'll put the map into motion now and show you that storm. Watch it start to move here with all the energy combining, move in the Gulf of Maine. And there that storm goes, right? So it's out of here by Sunday, but there goes the storm. There goes all the energy with it. This is by Sunday morning, right? So because that storm pushes east, it takes all the moisture with it. We are going to get clearing in time for Mother's Day. But right now, on radar across the Northeast, you've got moisture showers and eventually thunderstorms firing up over Long Island, Hartford, Worcester, Mass. You're next. And then moving into Maine in the overnight into Saturday. All this moisture is going to really just curl up here from the upper level low, which has not really taken shape just yet. So this storm has not peaked yet as far as intensity goes. Here is the look at the green blob that's coming our way. And this is all that rainfall that moves through. And watch this low form in the Gulf of Maine, okay? Right here, you see the low forming. Right there, right off the coast, the mid-coast, east of Casco Bay, Wiscasset, and that's going to push up down east. So you get all this moisture thrown up against the mountains, the Oxford Hills, Carabasset Valley. All that moisture gets squeezed out, and what that happens with the orographic lift, you're going to get a bunch of rain, and the flooding threat is greatest right here in the foothills. That's where the flooding threat will be greatest. That's where I expect us to get that 1.5 to 3 inch stripe of rain, also in the southwest interior too. And then the storm pushes east. It's out of here by Sunday. So Mother's Day for mom is all clear. Here's a look at the trends for the temperatures here. Very chilly Saturday with the storm. Then we go up next week away from the coastline. And then we take a little bit of a nosedive as we get deeper into May. So I'll talk about that more in the long term after we get done with this storm. That is in Bangor. In Portland, you've got a much more dramatic here climb, and then a sea breeze, and then a climb, okay? So you had a big-time roller coaster ride in Portland there. And how about down to Boston? Check out this roller coaster ride. So temperature is chilly on Friday because of that east wind off the ocean, the Gulf of Maine, okay, back towards Portland. But then look at Boston dropping down to the 40s and 50s here. So the theme here for going forward, long range, if you're wondering, is it's going to be pretty typical weather in New England. We have these backdoor fronts and it does cool down. You can go to jasonnappyweather.com to get the latest forecast right there. And it's a great spot for seeing things like the hour-by-hour forecast here, which I cover that in depth on jasonnappyweather.com. So now I want to show you the the rainfall amounts here. So let me go ahead and bring that up here in the forecast. I'm going to move this out of the way here so I can show you. Check this out. So this is a look right here at where all that heavy rainfall is. See Portland 1.82, Bangor 1.22. Really, I expect right here in the Oxford Hills, the foothills, that's where I expect the rain to be heaviest. But you can see clearly there's a lot of rain coming to New England in the next really 24 to almost 48 hours here. So here comes the storm, right? Buckle up. Big time storm coming in the forecast. Now I want to focus in on Maine just a little bit and show the hour by hour. I'll show you the sky cams. Much cooler today. We've got clouds, showers really later today. So right now it's cloudy for the most part. That rain moves in tonight and it gets heavy into Saturday. Before you wake up southern Maine, and then during the day, central Maine and down east, it'll start to push east, that storm, as it moves up. Showed you into the Gulf of Maine. So here we go. The next 10 days, the mountains, okay, 50, 56, 63, and then we get to the 70s in the forecast with those 60s back in the forecast. Now, the mountains will not see the worst of the storm, and I just remembered here that I forgot to show the hour by hour. Let me go back here and I can show you that hour by hour. There it is. Okay, there's the hour by hour. So I'll time that storm out. Comes in after 3, 4 o'clock. So New Hampshire starts off with it and then it gets into Maine. Now the heavy stuff doesn't come in until really well after midnight. Right here, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. See the yellows popping up in southern Maine. Real heavy stuff, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, Oxford Hills, and then mid-coast, moving up down east in the afternoon. So it'll linger down east, very heavy Saturday evening, and then it's over by 8 and 9 o'clock as we get into that forecast. So let's go back to the 10-day forecast now so I can show you that here. Here's that 10-day forecast. Let me go ahead and bring that up here, reset the maps so I can show you the 10-day. I just covered the mountains, so we'll skip over that. We'll get to inland. 54-65, a jump of 10 degrees after that storm comes out Saturday. So it pushes down east. It's out of here Saturday night. And then we are clear. Very nice. A run for the 80s away from the coast next week. So you take the sea breeze away on Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's going to be really nice inland. And then some showers into next weekend. I know, another weekend of some rain. Right now, it doesn't look to be a major storm or even anything significant next weekend. We'll do one weekend at a time, one storm at a time. With the coastline, heavy rain, embedded thunderstorms, and east wind. And Saturday, we get to 58, but Sunday looks great for Mom, great for a drive up the mid-coast, up down east, up away from the coastline. Wherever you want to go, looks great. And then we are nice next week, but then the showers do return in the forecast. I will say, unfortunately, at this point, we do always need rain for the most part, but at this point, it's getting a little bit crazy. The latest forecast is available on nappycast.com.